Wyoming, 1883. The air hums with heat, thick with the scent of sage and desire. In a rough-hewn cabin, Clara Bennett's breath catches, her lips parted, eyes locked on Jacob Harper's. Their bodies tangle in the firelight, skin flushed, damp with sweat. Her fingers claw at his shirt, tearing it open, her full breasts straining against the thin cotton of her blouse, nipples taut beneath the fabric. His hands, calloused from the reins, grip her hips, pulling her closer, her curves yielding under his touch. She arches, a soft moan escaping, her thighs pressing against his as the world narrows to their ragged breaths. Clara's gaze burns, not just with want, but with a secret she's carried too long. "I'm not a virgin," she whispers, voice raw, trembling with fear of rejection. Jacob's eyes, smoke gray and steady, hold hers. "I never asked you to be," he says, his voice low, a vow carved in the quiet. Their lips crash again, hungrier, as if to drown her past in this moment. But outside, hoofbeats echo in the dusk, a shadow from her old life drawing near. Will Jacob stand by her when her secrets unravel? Or has he already given too much to a woman running from her ghosts? Let us know where you're listening from in the comments below. Hit that like button if this pulls you in, and subscribe for more tales where desire and redemption collide. Wyoming, 1883. Dust chokes the air as the stagecoach lurches, its wheels splintering like a snapped bone. Clara Bennett tumbles out, landing hard on her knees. Her skirt rides up, revealing a glimpse of smooth thigh, quickly covered as she stands, brushing dirt from her hands. She's 23, tall, her brown hair pinned tight, straining against the scalp. Her jaw is proud, eyes sharp with defiance, but they dart, wary, scanning the empty plain. She left everything behind: money, trust, a man who took both, and now she's stranded, half a day from Red Bluff. The driver curses, wrestling spooked horses. Other passengers, shadows in the coach, stay silent. Clara's chest tightens. This is her new start, and it's already broken. A shadow falls across the dirt. "You all right?" The voice is deep, steady, like a river over stone. Clara spins, hand twitching toward the knife in her boot. Jacob Harper stands there, hat low, sun-browned skin catching the light. His eyes, gray as smoke, hold hers without blinking. A rifle rests on his shoulder, but his hands are open, calm. He's maybe 30, his vest dusted from a cattle run, his stance solid, unyielding. Clara's pulse quickens, not from fear, but something else, something she buries fast. "I'm fine," she snaps, smoothing her skirt, the fabric clinging to her hips. "You from Red Bluff?" He nods once. "Jacob Harper. Saw your wheel snap. Driver won't fix that. Without tools." His gaze flicks to the coach, then back to her, lingering a moment too long on the curve of her waist. Clara folds her arms, shielding herself. "I figured that, myself." His lips twitch, not quite a smile. "Headed somewhere?" he asks. "Job at the boarding house," she says, "but I'm walking now." Jacob tilts his head. "You won't make it before dark. My horse can carry two." Clara hesitates. Trust is a luxury she lost long ago. Men like him, quiet, strong, always want something. But his eyes don't demand, don't push. They wait. She nods, sharp. "Fine, but I carry a knife." He steps aside, letting her pass. "Good. Means you're smart." They ride in silence, his horse's hooves thudding on packed earth. Clara sits behind him, thighs brushing his, as the rhythm sways her body. The sun dips low, painting the hills gold. She feels his warmth through his shirt, the broad line of his shoulders steady against the wind. Her fingers tighten, resisting the urge to touch more. "You got family in Red Bluff?" Jacob asks, voice low. "No," she says, clipped. Not anymore. He glances back. Just a flicker, but doesn't pry. She's glad for it. The silence stretches, heavy with unspoken things. Her past, a man who promised love, took her money, left her empty, clings like dust. Jacob's solitude hangs too, in the way he sits, alone, but not lonely. You live alone? She asks. Yeah, small place outside town. Few cattle. His voice is quiet like he's guarding something. I had a place once, she says softer now, with a man. He left, took everything. Jacob doesn't turn, but his shoulders stiffen. Happens, he says. And she knows he understands more than he lets on. A storm brews fast, clouds blackening the horizon. Lightning cracks, sharp as a whip. Jacob curses under his breath. We won't make town dry. My place is closer. Clara's throat tightens, but rain stings her face. She nods. His cabin is rough timber, smoke curling from the chimney. He ties the horse, helps her down, his hand firm on her elbow, sending a shiver through her. Inside, it's simple. A table, a stove, one bed. Her heart pounds. I'll take the floor, he says, reading her fear. She says nothing, moving to the stove, her damp blouse clinging to her breasts, the fabric outlining every curve. She holds her hands to the warmth, aware of his gaze, heavy but restrained. He pulls dried meat and beans from a cabinet, fixes a meal. They eat across the room, thunder rumbling outside. Clara watches him, his hands steady, his face unreadable. You ever been married? She asks. He shakes his head. Never found the right time. She studies him, the way his shirt stretches over his chest, the faint scar on his knuckles. Something stirs in her, a want she hasn't felt in years. She pushes it down. I'm not looking to be saved, she says, voice firm. Not offering that, he replies, meeting her eyes. Just a ride. As rain taps the window, Jacob stands, reaching for a blanket. He pauses by the door, plucking a wildflower from his coat, left from the trail. For you, he says, voice rough. It's not much, but it's honest. Clara takes it, her fingers brushing his, the petals soft against her skin. Her breath catches, a flicker of warmth sparking in her chest. She looks away, clutching the flower, afraid of what it means. But the hoofbeats of her past are closer than she knows. Clara steps into Red Bluff's boarding house, her boots scuffing the swept porch. The air smells of lye and stale coffee. Mrs. Evelyn Stone, sharp-eyed and stern, sizes her up like a hawk on a fence post. Clara meets her gaze, chin high, her blouse taut across her chest as she breathes deep. You'll start with linens, Evelyn says, voice like gravel. Clara nods, grabbing a basket, her arms flexing, skirt swaying over her hips as she moves. Work is hard, sheets to wring, pails to haul, but she doesn't flinch. Her hands blister, her wrists ache, but each night she stands at her upstairs window, staring at the hills, the wildflower from Jacob pressed in her palm. It's brittle now, but she can't let it go. She's running from a past that won't stay buried, and his quiet eyes haunt her. Days pass. Evelyn slips a pantry key into Clara's apron, a silent nod of trust. Clara's lips curve, not a smile, but close. She's earning her place, but her heart's restless. In town, she spots Jacob by the cooper's shop, leaning against a water trough, rope coiled over his shoulder. His shirt clings to his frame, sweat tracing the line of his jaw. She pauses across the street, her market basket heavy, her breath catching as she watches him. His eyes find hers, steady, burning. He tips his hat. You look well, he says, voice low, stirring something deep in her. I'm working, she replies, shifting her weight, the motion pulling her skirt tight against her curves. It suits me. He nods, stepping aside as a wagon rumbles past. A man's laugh cuts through the dust. A boarder, young, brash, sidles up to Clara, his hand brushing her arm. "You're too pretty for scrubbing floors," he says, grinning. Clara stiffens, her knife hand itching, but she forces a smile, stepping back. Jacob's gaze darkens, his fist clenching at his side. He doesn't move, but his silence speaks louder than words. Later, by the livery fence, he finds her. "I saw him," he says, voice tight. "He touched you again, I'll handle it." Clara's heart skips, her body warming at his protectiveness. "I can handle myself," she says, but her eyes linger on his lips, full and firm. "I know," he says, stepping closer, close enough she feels his breath. "But I don't want you belonging to anyone else." Her pulse races, a flush creeping up her neck. She turns away, afraid of the want stirring inside her. That night, a shadow moves in Red Bluff. Clara's past catches up. A man from her old life, lean and dangerous, his voice like a snake's hiss. He corners her outside the mercantile, demanding papers tied to a silver mine her family lost. "You owe me, Clara." He sneers, his fingers grazing her wrist. She jerks free, heart pounding, her skirt catching on a crate, exposing the curve of her thigh. She flees, the town's lights blurring behind her. Jacob's cabin is her only thought, but a storm breaks, rain soaking her blouse, plastering it to her skin, her breasts outlined in the wet fabric. She finds him staggering in the rain, blood streaking his arm from a fall off his horse. He'd ridden out to warn her, sensing trouble. Clara pulls him into the cabin, her hands trembling as she tears his shirt, revealing taut muscle beneath. She binds his wound, her fingers brushing his chest, her breath shallow. His hand catches hers, rough but gentle. Their eyes lock, and she leans in, lips crashing against his, hungry, desperate. The kiss is fire, her body pressing close, curves molding to his frame. His fingers tangle in her hair, pulling her deeper. She breaks away, gasping, her chest heaving. "I'm not who you think," she whispers, fear in her eyes. Jacob's gaze holds steady, promising something she's afraid to name. The past is closing in, and her secrets are about to spill. Rain hammers the cabin roof, a relentless drumbeat. Clara kneels beside Jacob, her hands stained with his blood, her wet blouse clinging to her breasts, the fabric sheer against her skin. His arm, bandaged now, rests heavy in her lap. The firelight dances, casting shadows across his face, his gray eyes burning into hers. She's trembling, not from cold, but from the weight of her past, closing in like a noose. The man who stole her trust, her money, her heart. He's in Red Bluff, his shadow trailing her like smoke. Jacob stirs, his voice rough. "He came for you, didn't he?" Clara nods, her throat tight. "He wants papers. A silver mine my family lost. He thinks I owe him." Her fingers clutch the bandage, her knuckles white. Jacob's hand covers hers, warm, steady. "You don't owe him a damn thing." She pulls away, standing, her skirt swaying, hugging the curve of her hips. She paces to the window, rain streaking the glass. "You don't know me, Jacob," she says, voice breaking. "What I've done, who I've been." He rises, slow, wincing, and steps behind her. His breath grazes her neck, sending a shiver down her spine. "I know enough," he says. "You're here. That's what matters." She turns, her eyes wet, searching his face. The air between them crackles, thick with unspoken want. Her chest heaves, her lips part, and she whispers raw and desperate, "I'm not a virgin." The words hang heavy, a confession torn from her soul, fear flickering in her gaze. Jacob steps closer, his hand finding hers, fingers lacing tight. "I never asked you to be," he says, his voice a low vow, steady as the earth beneath them. Her breath catches, tears spilling, and she feels the weight of her shame lift, just a fraction. Their eyes lock, and the world falls away. Clara surges forward, her lips crashing into his, hungry, fierce. His hands slide to her waist, pulling her close, her curves molding to his frame. Her blouse falls open, buttons slipping free, revealing the swell of her breasts, skin flushed in the fire's glow. His fingers trace her spine, rough but tender, igniting a heat she's long buried. She arches into him, thighs pressing against his, her moans soft, desperate. In her mind, a whisper. For the first time, I feel safe, like my scars don't define me. Their clothes slip to the floor, a tangle of cotton and leather. Their bodies entwine, moving as one in the firelight, her skin warm against his, every touch a promise. Jacob's lips brush her ear, murmuring, "You're beautiful, Clara, just as you are." She clings to him, her heart pounding, and whispers back, "This is my beginning." They collapse together, breath ragged, wrapped in each other, the storm outside forgotten. Dawn breaks, soft and gray. Clara and Jacob sit by the fire, her head resting on his shoulder, his arm around her waist. The air smells of coffee and wood smoke. "I want a home," he says, voice quiet. "A place where you don't have to run." Clara looks at him, her eyes softer now, unguarded. "I want to belong," she says, "with you." He nods, his thumb brushing her hand. "I'm building it. A cabin big enough for two. Maybe more." She smiles, faint but real. "I'll help you." Outside the rain has stopped, but hoofbeats echo in the distance. Her ex is still out there, a threat unanswered. But Clara's not alone anymore, and that changes everything. The sun climbs high over Red Bluff, baking the mud dry. Clara stands on the boarding house porch, her skirt brushing her thighs, the fabric soft against her skin. Her hands are calloused now, steady from work, but her heart races. Hoofbeats thud closer, not a memory this time, but real. Her ex-lover, lean and sharp as a blade, rides into town, eyes locked on her. He dismounts, boots kicking dust, and steps close, his voice low, venomous. "Give me the papers, Clara. That mine's mine." She straightens, her chin high, the curve of her waist outlined by the morning light. "They're gone," she says, voice steady. "Burned, like what you did to me." His hand twitches, but Jacob's shadow falls between them. "Leave," Jacob says, his voice a low growl, hand resting on his belt, not threatening, but final. The man hesitates, then spits in the dirt, and rides off, his silhouette shrinking against the hills. Clara exhales, her body trembling, but Jacob's hand finds hers, grounding her. "He won't come back," he says. She believes him. Weeks pass. Clara and Jacob stand in the mercantile's back room. Herbs, drying overhead, their scent mingling with wax from a single oil lamp. Mrs. Evelyn Stone watches, her navy dress stiff, her face unreadable, until she pulls Clara into a fierce hug, tight enough to steal breath. Jacob wears a dark coat, brushed clean, his boots polished from Sunday rides. Clara's dress, wheat gold, hugs her form, stitched by her own hands. Their vows are simple, spoken soft, like secrets shared in the dark. "I'll stand by you," Jacob says, his eyes holding hers. "Always," Clara whispers, her fingers lacing with his, a promise sealed in calloused palms. They ride home together, her arms around his waist, her cheek pressed to his back, the rhythm of the horse steady beneath them. Years turn. The cabin grows, its new beams strong, windows wide to catch the dawn. 2 children, a boy with Jacob's quiet eyes, a girl with Clara's fire, chase each other through a garden, thick with sage and sunflowers. Clara kneels in the dirt, her skirt fanning out, her hands buried in soil, her curves softened by time, but still drawing Jacob's gaze. She catches him watching, a flush creeping up her neck, and smiles, a spark of that old hunger flickering. One evening, she leaves oatcakes on the boarding house sill for a new girl, fresh off a stagecoach, eyes guarded like Clara's once were. No words, just a gift, a thread of kindness passed on. They sit by the hearth, fire low, Clara's hand in Jacob's. Outside, a new road stretches west, carved by their hands, leading to a horizon they'll face together. If this tale of desire and redemption stirred you, whisper where you're listening from. In the comments, like, subscribe, and ride with us for more stories where hearts break and mend under open skies.